and keep your officers safe all at the same time.
The other thing that I want you to touch on a little bit is, going this paperless thing. Eventually, the state's on this push to go paperless. This is the ability. When all that happens, we'll be able to electronically download our citations right to the Department of Transportation or out to the clerk of court's office, and then they'll be able to get them that way instead of right now we burn a copy, run a copy down to them, we keep a copy in our file.
And part of their electronic filing process is that every document that is every charge that's going to be filed will need to be scanned into their system. Basically, you go to a web page, you put in some information about the case, and then you scan the documents in the case. That can be quite time-consuming. Every one of the citations would need to be scanned and entered into the court systems. Now, if it's done in tracks at the roadside, you just transmit it. We transmit a copy of the PDF electronically to the courts. There is none of that scanning or manual entry of the data. And that's where, we as the DOT, we realize a lot of savings on our side is getting that crash data electronically. The courts realize some savings also, having the citation data transmitted electronically to them. And then, of course, the agencies, you get the benefit of having some reports that are professional looking, not handwritten, they're typed out, and the ability to go back and look at your historical data.
Right now, by the middle of next month, I will have computers in 5 of our 6 patrol units. We've been buying refurbished computers through Cornbelt Telephone and Wall Link. I did get a bid to put 6 new units, computers and everything in the cars. Gentlemen, that's $30,700 just for the equipment for that for 6 units. So we've been using refurbished stuff. What we would have to do is get the air cards, and right now unlimited Verizon is like $40 a month per card. That's going to be about maybe $3,200 a month. I'd have to put back check my notes, or a year. I'm sorry, $3,200 a year, not a month. And then we would have to buy some type of external GPS system that would plug in to the computers we currently have. Other than that, we'd be set to implement this.
GPS units themselves, most of the agencies can purchase a $50 unit. Again, that's that one-time equipment purchase. And that $50 is pretty cheap for a GPS unit that works with the laptops.
So, but you guys have any questions for Josh? I mean, I just wanted to see you. I thought it was easier for you to come and see what it can do, what we'll be able to see in the car, what our dispatchers can do with it, instead of me trying to explain all this.
This is the exact thing that you'll see in the cars. This is the exact thing that you'll see in dispatch.
Can you zoom in on post 4?
I can actually select the State Patrol District. There is post 4. Now it includes, there's kind of a line here. Probably better if I zoomed in and then select it. There is post 4. That includes a little bit of post 1. It does include the Des Moines metro area, but generally post 4 is in this area.
Why that's important, why I wanted you to see post 4, and that stops at Sioux City there, up there, Woodbury, is that's the post we're in for the State Patrol. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of help out there for us. If we need help, they're not replacing Trooper Hesnard. There's one trooper between Lytton and Mobile, and that's a trooper out of Ida Grove. The governor announced, or the state's announced the other day, they may be laying 49 more troopers off in July. Those are the people we draw from for help, and we're out there all by ourselves. You can see we got one car in Sac County, and my guess is that's a DOT car.
That is a DOT car that is at the scale.
That's Shirley.
No, that's not Sherman.
I can right-click on it.
231 is Budden.
That is Austin Budden with the DOT.
That's it. I know right now, currently, Buena Vista County Sheriff's Office, according to Sheriff Launderville, they have 2 cars equipped with this now. Sheriff Harriman from Ida County was supposed to be here today, couldn't make it. They're interested in doing it, you know, and for us, it's drawing the resources. We can look at the map and see who's our closest help when we're screaming for help or need help out there. And to me, that probably by far, for us, is the biggest benefit. You know, I mean, it helps.
That is our main push, is officer safety. And along with that, I pulled up this information window on this DOT car. That is our main focus, our main push with this software is officer safety. It's not a disciplinary tool. That's not why we're putting it out there. When we first got the pilot version of the software, one of these lines right here had the speed of the unit in it. It lent the software too much to a disciplinary tool. And that's what it started, real quickly, that's what it started to become. And that's not our push. We want officers to want to use this for their safety and for other people's safety. And that's why we're doing it. That's one of the reasons we took speed off of that list.
My personal thoughts are, I'm excited about being able to put the pictometry part into this, because I think that's a really neat tool that's really going to double your safety.
Sure.
And one concern I will have when you're talking about doing this now, we need to plan ahead in that if we are purchasing equipment that we're not going to have to turn around and update the equipment in 2 years when they can add those layers. Right.
I think the big thing that the GPS component, the big thing with the pictometry, most of that is stored directly on the laptop. It would be stored here because the amount of data that's in that pictometry, you wouldn't be able to download it fast enough. So you would have to install it directly on the laptop. You want to make sure you've got a lot of storage space, because some of that does take up.
And the computers we have don't have that. If we want to put that in the cars, we have to buy an external hard drive and then switch to that external hard drive.
That's one of the problems with buying or purchasing refurbished laptops, is you're kind of stuck with, number one, what they have on hand. You're also dealing with computers that are 3-4 years old.
That's my point.
Right.
I mean, if you really do seriously consider doing this, we need to be sure that we're not going to be updating.
Out of the computers I have now in the cars, and will have, only one of them was a brand new computer, and that was bought about 6 years ago, 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. The rest of them are refurbished units, and that's where the cost is going to be. The units we have now, and we buy the tough books instead of something, and you can talk
and I can talk about that. I support 55 agencies across the state. I have 2 agencies that have went out and bought like a Gateway laptop off the shelf. They do not last in a car environment. They fall apart. The hard drives crash. I have an agency that I'm supporting almost on a weekly basis, reinstalling tracks, because they went and bought a Gateway laptop. Their reasoning is, well, I can buy 5 of those for the cost of a tough book. That's true, but you spend all that extra time supporting it. You spend all this time with the laptop out of the car because you've had it sent in for a new hard drive. They just do not hold up. The heat, the humidity, the cold, the vibrations, it just tears up a normal laptop. They do not last. So the ruggedized ones have shock-mounted hard drives. They're built to be put into a car.
The ones we have the Panasonic tough books. There's CF29s. They no longer make the docking stations for those. So when these go out, we can't get the car mounting docking station for them. As a matter of fact, the 2 we just ordered are now the CF19s, and they're a different mounting system and a different computer altogether. So that's the problem we're running into with buying this used stuff that we've been purchasing, is that now they're no longer, everything's obsolete. So, but like I said, it's $3,300 for one computer, and it's $30,700 for everything we need to put in 6 cars, 6 of our 8 cars. So, and that's why we've chosen to go with, we know it's a huge expense, but, I really, and I wanted to do this before I come up to my budget hearing, because I'm going to budget for, I have budgeted for air cards that aren't currently in the budget, and just so you kind of have an idea ahead of time of what I'm talking about when I say this is what we want to do. So,
any questions?
All right, well, thanks for coming down.
Appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you.
There you go. Oh, and all this information is confidential.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far
The
as
locations of the vehicles, the units are confidential. All of the software is 200. It all meets FBI compliance for as far as the security with it. The only thing that would really be open to any type of public records are the instant messages in the chat rooms.
right. But so the general public can't pull this up and see where we're at. Correct, is what I was getting at. So that won't help you out. Or Rick.
Unless you got a copy of the software.
About undercover cars, if they would have it on their computer.
I think it's got the capability to shut it off.
Well, you know, of course, I don't feel that. There's many times I had to call.
And they're not eligible for this.
We called them.
They could be eligible for this. We're working on a web-based version of tracks, and they can come on board with tracks. So potentially, you could have every law enforcement vehicle in the state on this system in the future.
Jack has a question.
Sure.
What about undercover cars? Well, what I'm talking about is I know with DCI, and I worked vehicle theft for 7 years, undercover, and many times I'd have to call for a uniform, is what we would call, we need a uniform. In other words, we need an officer present for what we're doing, a search warrant or something like that.
I don't believe we have any undercover cars that are currently part of the project. We have, unmarked cars, but still uniformed people. It is very possible that you could have this on an undercover person's laptop so that they could pull it up and just see where the nearest backup is for them. Call that person, send them an instant message, say, hey, I need you to come help me out with this search warrant, you're busy. You can just call up state radio and say, hey, where's our nearest state car? I need him to come help me out with this traffic stop. You can just call them up and say, and they'd be able to tell you on the map, this is where that person is. Absolutely.
You better call it.
We are working on a version of this that works on a cell phone. In fact, I have a cell phone with this on this now. It's still a little buggy, still something we're working on. But you could have your undercover cars with a cell phone with the software installed on it too.
But ultimately, I'd like to have this in every one of our cars. We have this, ultimately.
He's suggesting a need for uniting. I just don't understand that.
Now, you also said Nebraska's piloting this, and we would also,
Yes. The state of Nebraska is piloting this. The state of Wisconsin is also piloting this. We can make our servers in Des Moines talk to their servers. So if they put out an Amber Alert, or we put out an Amber Alert, we can actually share that information across state borders. A lot of the functionality that's built in here goes back to a lot of the stuff that came out of the 9/11 commissions. The problems that they had with some of the communications, the across-border, across-discipline, cross-agency communication. This is the definition of interoperability.
Officer fatalities are up 30-some%.
37.
I just heard that on the radio this morning. That's huge.
there's less and less of us out there. I mean, that's what it boils down to. There's less and less of us out there.
There was just a trooper killed yesterday down in Georgia.
Shot in the face
Shot in the face
twice.
twice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
In most cases, we have, at best, Sac County will have 2 cars out. And I'm not talking us, I'm talking county-wide, maybe 3.
When I was working in Lakeview, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it, and like we talked, well, Jack and I talked the other day, it used to be you could draw from the Odebolt police or the Shader police early if you needed help. They're not there anymore.
Not there.
It's us.
Nope.
So. All right, well, thanks for coming down.
Appreciate you.